I created this little miniature gouache painting, and I thought I would take you along my process, how I created that. And if you haven't already, I've already created a video of this pastel puppy portrait that I've done. So if you haven't seen that, go ahead and look at that on my channel. But I hope you like the video, and let's get in with it. On with it. I'm using my Himi gouache in my Stay Wet palette. That's how I like to use it, because I can get it on my desk much easier. And I'm using cold press paper. I didn't use a sketch, I just went straight in, blocking the large areas with the gouache, because it's only a small painting anyway. And I used a mid-tone for the grass and the darkest colour for the bushes, and just a very pale sky. The photo that I used, I can't remember if it was a photo from a friend or from Pixabay, but it's either one or the other. I do have a collection of photos that I like to use to paint with. This part of the painting always looks boring. All you can see is just large blob shapes, and it doesn't look like anything. But as the painting progresses, the picture emerges, so you have to keep carrying on because you want to see that you can get to the end. But with the gouache, you can either work light to dark or dark to light. So it makes it quite easy of which way you want to go in parts of the painting. How I work with my layers, this underpainting here is not so thick, not too watery though, just to get those large shapes in. And then when I go on top, which I'm doing right here now, the paint gets a little bit thicker, so I don't put too much water on. I always make sure that the layer underneath is dry before I put the next layer on. Otherwise, they're going to mix together, and then you're going to land up with a bit of a mess. So while you're watching me develop with this painting, I have some exciting news. Well, it's exciting to me anyway. I'm finally getting my art studio. I have a garage that's part of my back garden, and it's rotting. It's made out of wood, and it really needs replacing, so I might as well turn it into an art space. I've always wanted one, but it's taken me years to save the money because I'd rather do it that way. I don't want a loan. And I currently have a very small art space in my dining room in the corner. I have a video about this small space. I will link it at the end of the video if you haven't seen it already. So back to the garage that I was mentioning before. So far it's been 3 days. The garage has been dismantled. It is completely gone. It's a very large space now. And the builder is starting to create the new build. And it's so freaking exciting. When I finally get into my new art studio, I'm thinking about doing some vlogging videos as well. I'll still probably make some videos like these, but I've been thinking about it for a while. You'll have to let me know in the comment if you would like to see some of that. I mean, I can't do any vlogging in my current space at the moment because I have my family walking in and out of the dining room, so it's not really appropriate. I'll probably even create a video of me moving into the new studio and then organising all my art supplies. Oh gosh, I hope it all fits in there, but if it doesn't and it takes too much space, I might have to leave it all dotted around in my house. But we'll see. We'll see. So, back to the painting. Throughout this painting is what I'm doing right now. I'm using a stippling effect. I'm using a really old brush and the bristles are not in good shape, but they're quite stiff bristles. And I'm just dabbing, and it works quite well because the painting is so small, but I'm not sure if I could use the same effect on the bigger painting. Well, maybe I'll have a go at a bigger painting and see, but it'll have very small leaves if I did on it. Laughing at myself, oh gosh. But I'm filling in the gaps and those dark blobby shapes there, and I'm just working from mid-tone to light tones now, trying to give it some dimension, 3D look. I mean, the sky at the moment looks white now, but I'm not going to go and do it again. I'm just going to leave it the way it is. I'm going to put this tiny little tree at the back. It's supposed to sort of look into the distance. I quite like the finish of it when I'm done. And while I was working on this back area here, I was thinking about the foreground, and I'm just thinking, gosh, how am I going to make this foreground look really packed with lots of long grass and wild flowers? I mean, I'm not going to sit here and paint every little strand of grass. And I thought, well, every painting has its problems and you have to sort of figure it out as you go along. I mean, I have that problem with every one of my paintings. I don't know if anyone else does, but I think it's normal. I do figure it out in the end, obviously, because you saw that I have finished a painting at the start when I was showing you what it looks like. And I thought it looked quite good. I was treating it as if I was doing a pastel painting because I'm quite good with my pastel paintings, I must admit. I thought, let's do an underpainting. So I'm using the stipple effect again to get all the colours that I can see in between the grass and fill this area up with this technique again. And then I can go over the top drawing some of the blades of grass. And actually, I don't think it looked too bad when I finished, and I was really pleased with it. So I'm glad I decided to do this in the end. I would just like to mention at this point in the video, if you're enjoying my videos so far, I would love to have a thumbs up, please. And if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. At least you will see my video when I get into my new art studio. I mean, you don't want to miss that. So, back to the foreground again, as I keep sort of drifting in and out of what I'm talking about. I wanted to look at where all the darks are. I thought, let's get those sections in first to see where the real dark areas are. And I could see brown areas, which I've got there already. And then the rest of it, I was putting in some of the nice bright mid-greens, which is what I'm doing now. And as I was filling this area up, it actually started to look like short grass that just needed a little bit of a cut. And I thought, I actually quite like that like this. Maybe I might just leave it like that. But no, I wanted to carry on with the plan that I had because I wanted it to have the wild flowers in there. So while you're still watching me painting grass, I'd like to ask a question. What sort of gouache painting would you like me to do next? Would you like me to put a little building in there with still trees around it? Let me know in a comment what sort of painting you'd like me to do, because I will do some more of these miniature paintings. I quite enjoy doing them. I just don't want to make them all about trees. I mean, I really do like trees, and I'm finding trees quite easy to paint, but I think I need to challenge myself, and I'm going to probably do some, maybe, don't know, shall I try doing water? Scary, huh? but I think that would be a good challenge for me to do some water and reflections in there. Maybe paint some bridges. I'd have a look in my photo collection. I still landed up painting loads of blades of grass, and I was using this paintbrush, and I was forever having to keep load it up with paint, and I had to have a really light hand because I didn't want some of the blades of grass to be too thick, otherwise it'd be well out of place. I just sort of landed up painting loads and loads of grass in the end anyway, but I still think that the underpaint that I did really helped to make it look really full, and I'm still really quite happy that I did that. By this time I was using so many different kinds of greens, I actually sort of lost what I was doing. But I'll have a bit of that colour here and I'll have a bit of that colour there. I think it still looked okay, and I'm quite pleased. I just was getting quite annoyed about this brush though. Maybe next time I'll have to have another look and see if I've got another rigger brush that will hold more paint in it, because this was just not holding much paint at all. But I persevered with it anyway, because I was at the end of the painting. I did, with all the colours of all the different greens that I had, I did manage to start getting lighter on the top, and I needed more yellowy greens as well to make them look nice and bright, and drawing in the stems of those wild flowers. And then I changed brush and started painting the flowers of these. It was actually quite nice to start using different colour, because I was using all green at this point, and it was just refreshing to have different colours going in. And this brush was quite good, but I couldn't have used this one for the grass because it was just too thick. And painting the grass, it felt like it took forever, but painting the flowers didn't take very long at all. I just had to dot a bit of colour here and dot a bit of colour there, and actually I did make all that up as I was going along. I looked at the photo and I thought, yeah, it looks good, but I'm just going to put this over here and that over there. But the poppy at the end, I did copy that, and I hope you are enjoying the video so far. And if you're still watching my video at this point, I appreciate it very much, so thank you very much.